Kurt Russell has survived Hollywood, fame, danger, and decades of relentless work. But nothing prepared his family for this. At 73, the legendary actor who built a career on strength, grit, and fearlessness is now facing a diagnosis that threatens everything he's fought for. The man once known for his unstoppable energy, his iconic roles, and his unwavering confidence now finds himself in a battle he never expected. A battle not against villains on screen, but against his own body. And beside him, heartbroken yet determined, is Goldie Hawn, the woman who has loved him fiercely for more than 40 years. Those close to them say Goldie is now preparing for something she never wanted to imagine: the possibility of saying goodbye. But before we understand the pain of the present, we must return to the beginning, to the childhood that shaped Kurt Russell into the man the world admires today. Kurt Russell wasn't carved out of normal childhood clay. He was built from Hollywood dust, baseball dirt, and the intensity of a family that lived and breathed performance. Born in 1951, Kurt grew up in a household where art wasn't optional. It was destiny. His father, Bing Russell, was already a recognizable actor. And his mother, Louise Julia, danced with elegance that seemed almost unreal. Their son inherited both worlds, the discipline of a performer and the wild spark of an athlete. Even as a kid, Kurt didn't simply play, he competed. Baseball became his second heartbeat. From little league to high school, he carried the swagger of someone who believed he had two futures, one on the field and one on the screen. But fate chose for him much earlier. At just 11 years old, Kurt landed a role in It Happened at the World's Fair, where he quite literally kicked Elvis Presley in the shin, a moment that marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey. By his teens, Kurt Russell was everywhere, in the travels of Jamie McPheeters, The Fugitive, Gilligan's Island, and nearly every major series of the era. His natural charisma caught the eye of Walt Disney himself, leading to a 10-year exclusive contract, a rarity in the industry. Disney believed Kurt wasn't just another child actor. He was the future. Before his death, Disney reportedly wrote Kurt's name on a piece of paper, the last thing he ever wrote. But the boy wonder still believed he belonged on the baseball field. For years, he juggled both dreams, until a devastating shoulder injury destroyed one of them forever. When baseball ended, acting welcomed him back with open arms. This was the moment Kurt Russell stopped being a child star and began his transformation into a Hollywood legend. Kurt Russell's transition from Disney darling to serious actor wasn't smooth, it was radical. He refused to be trapped in the warm, harmless glow of family entertainment. Instead, he craved edges, shadows, and roles that demanded teeth. His dramatic turn alongside James Stewart in Fool's Parade marked the beginning of a new Kurt, stronger, sharper, finally grown into his own identity. But his biggest metamorphosis came when he stepped into the most unexpected role of his life: Elvis Presley. His portrayal of Elvis in the 1979 television film didn't just impress critics, it electrified them. Kurt didn't imitate Elvis, he embodied him. The performance earned him an Emmy nomination and reopened every door Hollywood had once closed. And through those doors walked a man who was ready to work, risk, and redefine himself. Then came fate again, this time in the form of director John Carpenter. Together, they built some of the most iconic characters in cinematic history. Escape from New York gave us Snake Plissken, the eye-patched anti-hero who became a cultural phenomenon. The Thing showcased Kurt's ability to anchor tension with raw intensity. Big Trouble in Little China revealed his comedic timing beneath all the grit. With each film, he tore further away from his Disney past and stepped deeper into pop culture mythology. The 80s and 90s were a golden blaze. Silkwood, with Meryl Streep and Cher. Backdraft, Tango and Cash. Stargate, the unforgettable Wyatt Earp in Tombstone. And later, Tarantino's Death Proof and The Hateful Eight. Kurt Russell didn't climb Hollywood's ladder. He smashed it and built his own. But the greatest plot twist of his life had nothing to do with movies. It was a woman named Goldie Hawn. Before Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell lived in chaos. Studios, baseball fields, hotel rooms, and endless work schedules. But when he and Goldie reunited on the set of Swing Shift in 1983, everything changed. Their first date was the stuff of Hollywood legend. Drinks, dancing at the Playboy Club, and then breaking into Goldie's house accidentally while it was under renovation. The police showed up. They laughed their way out of it, and from that moment on, they were inseparable. What made their love different wasn't romance. It was respect. Goldie had 2 children, Oliver and Kate Hudson, and Kurt didn't just accept them, he loved them like his own. Kate often said, "Kurt is the only father I've ever really known." Their bond was unusual by Hollywood standards. They never married, because they didn't need a paper to prove commitment. They raised their blended family with tenderness, humor, and fierce loyalty. Every red carpet appearance, every interview, every family photo radiated something rare, genuine happiness. As the years passed, their legacy deepened. Both appeared in the Christmas Chronicles, sharing a cinematic magic that audiences adored. In 2017, they were honored with 2 stars placed side by side on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a symbol of their 4-decade journey. Hollywood marriages crumble under pressure. Theirs never did. They built something unshakable. But even the strongest love stories eventually face their hardest chapter. And Kurt and Goldie were about to enter theirs. The first signs were small, tiny lesions forming beneath Kurt Russell's lip. A small irritation he brushed off as nothing. But doctors didn't brush it off. Tests revealed a rare genetic condition, Peutz-Jeghers syndrome, PJS. Not just a disorder, a warning. PJS carries a 93% lifetime risk of cancer, with lesions that can evolve into malignant tumors if left untreated. It wasn't just a health scare. It was a threat that cut straight through the heart of Kurt's family. Goldie Hawn was devastated. Sources close to them said she cried endlessly, terrified of losing the man who had been her partner, protector, and soulmate for 40 years. She became his shadow, arranging appointments, talking to specialists, monitoring every symptom, every breath, every ounce of his strength. Kurt, always the fighter, faced the diagnosis with the same grit that built his career. But Goldie? She faced something even harder, the emotional war of loving someone whose future suddenly felt fragile. Whispers from friends reveal the painful truth. Goldie is preparing herself for the possibility of saying goodbye. Preparing, not because she's giving up, but because she knows life can be cruel, even to the greatest love stories. Yet, through the fear, one thing remains unshakable. Goldie refuses to leave his side. She is fighting this battle with him, not as a Hollywood star, not as a public figure, but as a woman in love with a man whose life has become her entire world. And as they stand together in the face of uncertainty, their story becomes something beyond romance. It becomes a lesson in devotion, courage, and unbreakable love. In the end, the story of Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn is no longer just a Hollywood romance. It's a testament to what real love looks like when life turns cruel. Fame, success, and decades of iconic roles mean nothing compared to the fear of losing the person who has been your anchor for 40 years. Kurt's diagnosis didn't just shake a family. It shook the foundation of one of the most enduring partnerships in entertainment history. And through it all, Goldie has remained exactly who she has always been, his warrior, his protector, and the woman who refuses to walk away, even when the road ahead grows dark. Friends say Goldie is preparing herself for the worst, but she is also fighting for the best. She sits beside him through every appointment, every treatment, every moment of uncertainty. She laughs with him when she can and holds him when she must. She knows that love cannot stop illness, but it can give someone the strength to endure it. And Kurt, who has played heroes all his life, is now learning what it means to be held up by someone else's courage. Their journey reminds us of a truth far deeper than Hollywood glamour, that the real measure of a relationship isn't in weddings or perfect photographs, but in the quiet moments when two people choose each other again and again, especially when everything hurts. No one knows what the future holds for Kurt Russell. But one thing is certain. Goldie Hawn will be there, loving him, fighting for him, and standing beside him until the very end.